So we went to high school together and we graduated in 2005, and then we lost contact after I saw him at a graduation party in 2006, and he went on his mission. He got back, and in about October of 2008, I was on Facebook, and all of a sudden on the sidebar, one of those things popped up that said, "You're friends with so-and-so, you may know so-and-so," and that so-and-so that I may know was Kenny.
At the time, when we were in high school, she was really obnoxious. Like, I couldn't stand her at all.
We had, he tells a really funny story about how I got him kicked out of high school physics class.
She was the loud girl that got into lots of accidents, and I was the class clown that got blamed for everything. In this particular physics class, she'd gotten up on the counter because we were doing a lab, or we were doing an experiment, and a beaker, I don't know if it was filled with anything, but one of the beakers fell off the counter, and it happened to land like right in front of me, so it looked like I had dropped the beaker down on the ground. And the teacher immediately just turned, "Kenny, get out of the class. I'm not gonna have any of this today." And so I got kicked out of the class. I took a rap for her, Miss 4.0 GPA.
I knocked a beaker off the counter, and I ducked down, and the teacher saw him standing right there, and they yelled, "Kenny, out!" And it was totally my fault.
After I'd gotten home from my mission and I was living in Clearfield, Utah, I was up in Ogden, and she and I had reconnected on Facebook.
We started IM chatting on Facebook, and that led to one night we were talking about how all of our friends were getting married. And I said to him, "Well, we could just solve each other's problems and marry each other."
Through our conversation, we were just joking. We were like, well, since there's not going to be anybody left, we might as well just marry each other. That's what she said to me, and at the time it was, "Oh, ha 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 ha, yeah, what clever repartee, like that's really going to happen."
And I had this other thing in high school, which we called the Notebook of Randomness, and we just started, people just started writing quotes down that were funny, and it used to be Kenny's favorite thing to do, so we have this notebook full of, Kenny sayings, practically.
The notebook of, all right, I'd be selfish if I didn't say that the first reason I reconnected with Katie Hoy was to get my hands on the notebook.
Which is actually, when he started Facebook messaging me, he really just wanted to know if I still had that notebook. And sadly I did, and I had it exactly where I knew where I could get to it. So on our third time of meeting, I took it and I was like, "Here's the notebook," and we read through the whole thing together. It was really fun.
We decided, well, we'll get together, we'll go to the mall, we'll just get something to eat and just catch up, just friends catching up.
He said, "Well, let's meet up for dinner." And so we went to Tokyo Joe's, because that's where he's like, "Pick anywhere." And so that's where I wanted to go. And so we went to Tokyo Joe's right after I got off of work. So I had I had baby puke on my shoulders from working, because I worked with the babies. So I threw this sweater thing on. I was trying to cover it all up, and he gets there and he's wearing his flannel shirt, and I'm like, wow, much hasn't changed since high school.
But we went on a couple of things together, just harmless stuff, just driving around. But when we first started, I guess, realizing that we were dating, was when we went to Zoo Lights. And I was freaking out because it was on a Sunday, and I wasn't supposed to do anything on Sunday, and I was just a returned missionary about 6 months, so I'm like, I can't be here. It's Sunday. I'm not supposed to be here. I can't do this. I think she either sensed that I was nervous. I don't think she realized I was nervous about that, but she sensed my nervousness because it was more of a romantic setting. There was all of these lights around, and she kind of scooped down and grabbed my hand and kind of walked off hand in hand together. So that was the first moment where we realized, this could actually work. There's actually something here.
And he was caring and gracious and loving and thoughtful, and just had all of these amazing qualities that I'm just really? And so that's what kind of got me hooked on him.
And I think as we started dating more and more, that's how I came to realize that that awkward high school geeky math nerd that she was still there. I mean, she still loves math and she still loves those things, but it was me changing and us changing together to kind of fit the mold. I mean, everyone will tell you the expression, I fell in love, and that sounds like you're falling into a pit, like you can't get out, you're trapped, you're falling into love. It wasn't like that for us. I mean, sure, we fell in love in the metaphorical sense of it, but there wasn't really that. It was a connecting with each other, connecting with love. We both were in a place where we didn't quite know where we were going. We were the same kind of people that we were before, and we just, as we were both changing, we just kind of interlocked into each other.
Because he was just funny and fun to be with, and we could laugh and have a good time, and I could be my ridiculous self, and it was okay, and it just kind of like one thing just led to another, and we just enjoyed spending time with each other. My father was very thankful we had unlimited texting because we spent a lot of time texting. When we were driving home from Salt Lake City in June, I just thought to myself, this boy is too good to let go. We sat in a car for 8 hours together, and I talked his ear off the whole way there and the whole way back. And we got home and he looks at me and he goes, I could listen to you talk forever. And I was like, well, that's good, because I like to talk. He didn't get sick of me and all my crazy stories.
I actually bought her wedding ring in August of '09, and I didn't propose to her until July of 2010. So I had her ring for about 11 months, about 10 months to 11 months. And when she had gone to the mall with her girlfriends, and they were just looking around, as girlfriends do. They were just in the jewelry shop, just messing around. Allie, her sister, had actually taken me back to the store and had said, almost jokingly, that was the ring that she had put on and had gotten tears in her eyes. Like, that was the ring that she had wanted. And so for me, at that moment, it was, if that's what Katie wants, then that's what Katie's gonna get.
He went on a guy's trip to Florida, and that was the first time he'd been away, for multiple days where I couldn't see him since we started dating. And when he got back, I was just like, don't ever leave me again, like that, you know, because it was just like a part of me was gone. And so, but then it took us another year to get engaged from there.
So I'd had the ring since August, and we had started to take this trip to Disneyland. She had gotten Lyme disease a couple of days before, because she had gone to St. Louis to visit some friends. And so she was taking these pills that were making her ridiculously nauseous.
He was so funny. In the morning, we were getting ready to go to the park, and I was on this crazy medication, and it was just, every once in a while, I wasn't doing good things to my body. And so, we're getting ready, I'm being slow, we're trying to get there on time.
And she immediately ran and just vomited all over the place. And this was the trip that I had brought the ring on, and here I am thinking, this is going to be the picture-perfect engagement, this is going to be the greatest proposal in the world, we're going to go to the happiest place on earth, and we're starting with vomit in the toilet. It was just, but again, it was just Katie. It was just one of those things.
Anyway, so we went into the park, and we were Disneyland, and we rode all of these rides, and there's a restaurant that was in Disneyland that was really special to we went as growing up, and it's just a really neat restaurant. And it's the restaurant right along the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
The Blue Bayou restaurant in Disneyland, which runs around a circuit where the Pirates of the Caribbean ride runs. So you get in your raft and you come around, and when you come around, you'll see a restaurant, and that's the Blue Bayou before you go down into the attraction. And we were sitting there, and we had this waitress, Nancy, that I just was one of the most cheerfully fake people I've ever met in my life. Hi there, how are you both doing today? My name's Nancy, I'm taking care of ya. Can I get you started with some crab cakes, maybe a little bit of pasta and some lobster in there? I kid you not.
And I took forever to eat. I thought he was gonna kill me because he's sitting there dripping bullets and sweating the whole time, and I'm just taking my sweet merry time because my breath would all come up.
And we both were eating, and we're getting near the end for dessert and everything, and I was talking to her, and she said, I'm having a lot of trouble hearing you. And so I said, well, maybe you won't have trouble hearing this in my best romantic voice.
He gets, all of a sudden he's like getting down on the ground.
And I started to get down on one knee as I'm pulling the ring out of my pocket. And I'm about halfway down to my knee hitting the floor, and she, as venomously as I could hear anybody say it, goes,
"What are you doing in the restaurant?" And he's like, and all of a sudden he's like looking at me.
So I had a choice to make. I'm halfway down. I can pretend I'm tying my shoe and get back up to the table and pretend that never happened. Or I can continue and continue with this proposal. And luckily for me, for the betterment of everybody else, I got down on my knee and I asked if she'd marry me.
And I just stare at him. I think he had to ask me twice before I said yes. And I said, yes, yes, now get up and kiss me. That's what I remember saying to him, get off the floor and kiss me.
And she looked at me for about 10 good seconds. And I think she was processing, because it was really loud in there. She was processing what I was saying to her. And she goes, yes, yes, get up and kiss me.
And then he put the ring on my finger, and there it was.
And for the rest of the trip, we were just giddy, wearing I'm engaged Disneyland buttons, and we're engaged, oh, we're engaged. Hey, we got engaged 2 days ago. And it was just we fell back into the puppy love stage for the rest of the trip, and it was awesome.
He's positive. He can take situations and he can look at me, he goes, look, it's not a big deal. And which is good because I can sometimes make things into a bigger deal than they need to be. He's so funny. We spend a lot of time laughing. He's caring. He'll drop anything and come a-running if you call.
The loyalty. There's the phrase that she says over and over and over to me, even when times were hard, because every couple has hard times. They don't admit it around engagement time and around wedding time, because everything's perfect then. But I'm a realist and a pessimist, and even during the tough times, the thing that she would always say is, I'm never going to leave you. I'm never going to leave you, over and over and over again, usually with tears in her eyes. And I would tell her, because I'm a jerk, I'm never going to leave you if. And it was always a conditional thing, and she would never put the if in there.
When you look at him, you just know that no matter what comes your way in life, that the whole world will be okay, as long as I have him. And as long as we're together, and as long as we're walking the road together, no matter what, that we can turn any situation that comes our way into something good.
She has a naivety about her that's not bad. When you think of the word naive, you think gullible, you think unwilling, or just village idiot kind of way. But that's not it with Katie. It's like she's constantly learning something new every day, and it's not because she hasn't learned it before or because she's not willing to learn it before. It's just that she makes every day a different adventure. And that's something I admire about her, because sometimes I feel like I'm the know-it-all, that I'm the one that's always telling her these things and she's always the learner. But there's times where during that process I learn that I don't need to know it all, that it's okay to not know. And that's something that she does really well. She's naive, but she's not stupid about it. She's willing and she's learning, but she's still knowledgeable and she's still intelligent in the way that she does it. She's not prideful enough to admit that she doesn't know everything.